We're live. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to the Elkins City Council meeting. We're going to start with an invocation, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you've given us. We thank you for providing us the opportunity to serve the citizens of Elkins. We ask that you guide us in our decision making as we strive to help our community grow. We also ask that you watch over and guide our country's leaders. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call the Elkins City Council meeting to order and ask the clerk to take the roll, please.
Councilor Gross-Bergenera.
Here.
Councilor Carroll.
Here.
Councilor Chenoweth.
Here.
Councilor Hinchman.
Here.
Councilor Kearns. Here. Councilor Louder. Absent. Councilor Pliszka.
Here.
Councilor Severino.
Yeah.
Councilor Thompson.
Here.
And Councilor Woods.
Here.
9 present, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here for public comment tonight? No public comment. Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the meeting for the April 9th meeting as submitted. We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. And the correspondence, you can see that April continues to be Proclamation Month. So you have a couple more. And you also have the building officers report in there. Okay, we'll start with our council reports, and we'll start with Councilor Chenoweth.
The Finance Committee met on April 13th, talked about several items, majority of which are on the agenda to be voted on tonight, including the fiscal year 27 sanitation budget and fire budget, the fiscal year 2027 property and casualty insurance bid, and we also discussed the TIF district. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Hinchman.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Pliszka.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Gross-Bergenera.
Rules and Ordinance met this week, and we discussed a few items the conversations will continue until next month, including short-term rentals, some language recommended for driver's records and for employees, and how to process FOA requests. And then this Friday, the tree board will be honoring Arbor Day at the Phil Gaynor Center at 1:00. We're planning some oak trees in honor of America's 250th anniversary. And these trees are being planted thanks to the efforts of the Mon Power Tree Line USA program. So we're very grateful for their donation. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Woods.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Kearns.
No report.
Councilor Severino.
No report.
Councilor Carroll.
The Planning Commission held a open house on the comprehensive plan last Thursday, and we had a nice little crowd for it. And of course, everyone's had that information emailed to them in advance, and so it's nice to kind of see those final steps. And I believe the clerk emailed everyone the next steps in that process, so that will move through Planning Commission and then to you all.
And when is the
appropriate
deadline for people to send in comments? It
May 8th.
May 8th.
And we appreciate all the input we've got so far. It's been a great process.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Thompson.
Personnel Committee has not met since our last meeting, but we will be meeting May 4th at 1 p.m. here in this room.
Thank you. Okay, moving down to our officers' reports, we will start with our city treasurer, Ms. Judy.
All right. So I've added under the council reports, in addition to the bank balances that is in your packet, the utility bonds. Thought that might update you on an annual basis. As you can see, I've listed when they mature, if they have already matured. In regards to sewer, they have one, which is their largest bond monthly payment, $46,939.02, that is scheduled to mature in 2028, will probably mature earlier. I was in contact with the building commission back on April the 8th. There are two bonds from 1986 that have been paid in full. There's been interest accrued on the reserve accounts that is just under $19,000. So that amount will be transferred to the revenue bond, that has the monthly payment of $46,939, to bring down that, balance due on it. And then again, on May 1st, they will, do the final interest payment of what, the balance was, and then also apply that and close out that 86 bond. And then I've listed the water bonds, as well as, you can see we're way out with those. The one in 2015 does not mature until 2055. There's still a balance of just under 13 million due on that. And then I've listed the bond that the city is required to be paying. It's $1,028 a month. It does not mature until 2041. As regarding potential financing for the gap in the city hall funding, on-site appraisals have been completed at the fire department and the Phil Gaynor Center, and just waiting on the final report to move forward with finalizing those options. The staff is working on processing the B&O returns for the first quarter. They are due by April 30th. We had 71 utility accounts that were scheduled for shut-off on April 7th due to non-payment of the past due bills. Staff has mailed 5 collection letters for delinquent utility final accounts and 148 collection letters for delinquent first due fire fees. And they are sending out a larger chunk of delinquent letters for fire fees this Friday, and I'll have that on the report at the next council meeting. And I did do the annual report for ARPA reporting, and now I'm just waiting for an email from the federal government, the Treasury, to close out that once and for all. So it'll probably be, it was summer of last year for those who potentially can go ahead and close it out. So I'm not sure when that will come, but once it does, we'll do the final closeout and we're done. But everything has been expended. That's about all I have right now. Anybody have any questions?
Hey Tracy, I have 2 questions. So, in terms of the delinquency for the first due fire fees, is that number typical?
Yeah.
No, the part of the, what we're seeing in responses from first due fire fee collections, is nobody wants to pay the city fire fee. They want to pay the county fire fee because it's cheaper. But in the letter that has gone out.
Which we don't receive.
Yeah. So in the letter that has gone out, it has city code, state code, as well as a Supreme Court decision that supports all of that. And I have given instructions on each of the letters that go out, if they can look at that and see if we've got our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So we are starting to see responses. Been an interesting day today.
What does that look like if they would continue
Right.
to be delinquent? Like what steps would move?
Well, in the past, what we have done is we'll take them to magistrate court. If they don't get served, we've got to find a way to be able to serve them. There was a couple cases that went to the circuit court, and one of those went to the Supreme Court, and they ruled in favor of Elkins.
Are there expenses on the city for?
Oh, yeah.
So it's an expense.
Yeah, just even to file at magistrate, there's an expense for that.
And
And
that,
then the attorney fee.
and then the city is responsible for those fees, or do we have any recourse to get?
We can try to get them back if they go to circuit court. That would be between the lawyers to
Oh,
push that out, but just hopeful that this will do something. But the response we are getting, county fire fee is cheaper, and I want to pay that and not the city fire fee.
So that 148 number is more than last year, or is it kind of holding steady with the holdouts?
It's a little bit more. We were a little behind because of the, I've had change in staff members. So we're about 2 years behind in doing this, but there's some that just refuse to pay. And you'll hear every explanation you can think.
And then in terms of the past due utility bills too, is that a higher number than normal, or is that pretty typical?
That's pretty typical.
Okay.
Today, they mailed out bills that were due April 20th, they mailed out 665 bills today that were not paid on time. That's average.
Okay,
Between 600 and 700 is average.
just kind of curious if there wasn't a, like, that would feels like a place where you could tell the trend in the economy if there was something alarming there.
No, that's normal.
And then the second question, I just want to make sure I understand the bond issues clearly enough. So obviously, like I think I get the front half of the bond. So I guess how does the bond earn interest after we pay it off? So because we're the bonds against future revenues, right?
So each bond has what they would consider a reserve
Okay.
bond. So in that, you have to put 10% of the cost into that account. And then the main bond that you're paying off is considered the revenue bond. So it's the reserve accounts that usually within 10 years, depending on the term of the bond, within 10 years, that reserve is met. And it just keeps adding on interest, continues to add on. Can't do anything with it.
Until the bond
Until
matures.
the bond is, yes. It's kind of a safety net for the bond,
Oh, that's really cool.
yes. Any other questions?
If not, thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Our operations manager, Mr. Kessinger, thank you for shutting the door, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good evening. Start out with sanitation department this evening. Normal operations there. Nothing new to report. You guys continue to do a fine job. We've had no more incidents with smoke coming out of the back of the trucks. So we're going to be getting with Leon here soon and putting out some public information as regarding to batteries and different things like that that can cause some problems. But those guys continue to do a great job. Very pleased with them. Street department, the street sweeper is on its second week of full operations of its normal schedule. Grading on all the alleys is pretty much complete. There might be one or two more we're going to re-hit, but other than that, it's pretty much complete. Starting to work on patching potholes in the streets and other places where the streets have been dug up. We're going to start patching that. We're not quite in a situation yet where we know what blacktop's going to cost us for paving season. We're hoping to find out here probably within the next month or so. So once I have that information, I'll pass that along to everyone. As you know, a couple meetings ago, I guess I reported that we installed the limit signs for 15 miles an hour where they requested to have them put. We've had an issue with one of the signs. We have relocated it once. The resident has asked us to do it again. We did look into the right-of-way and the map. The sign is actually on the city right-of-way. It's in direct line with a stop sign and a utility pole, so we feel like we just need to leave that be, as opposed to moving it again. So hopefully that is an issue that's solved, but if it's not, I'll definitely pass it along to everyone and let everyone know what's going on. City Hall update. No current really big update to give you. I have a progress meeting tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. So I'll send an email out if anything comes out of that progress meeting, but work is continuing to be done. The outside of the building, I think, is really starting to look good with what Keystone is doing there. So we're really excited about that. You have resolution 1911 tonight. I'll answer any questions you may have about it when we get to that. And code enforcement, at the last meeting, I talked about 119 Main Street, possibly trying to roll it into the West Virginia DEP funding for demolitions. It looks like we're going to be able to do that. It may not cover the entire amount, but it should cover a good portion of it. It would be minimal cost to the city to be able to move forward on that. So Jesse's still working on that, and if she gets more information, I'll pass that along as well. A couple of weeks ago, I was asked to go to D&E and speak at the Upward Bound program for about 30 minutes. I really enjoyed doing that. It was about professionalism and how to prepare for job interviews. And the kids seemed really, I was a little nervous about it because I thought this is a really boring subject. But they actually asked some really good questions and was very attentive. So it was a really good experience for me, and I appreciate them asking me to do that. Other than that, that's about all I have to report this evening. Unless anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions for Mike? If not, we have our chief wastewater operator, Whitney Hines.
Well, our apprenticeship program's been turned out pretty well. We have one applicant still looking for another. The young man that's the apprentice right now is doing a wonderful job. He says he wants to stay with the city, so he graduates in May, hoping to keep him on. He's doing wonderful. Very proud of him. We did have some regulatory notifications for our plant. If you remember the big leak of 2026 over on 3rd Street in Henry, that water leak did cause us some issues at the plant. The water was getting into our sewer system, coming to our plant. It caused us some excursions on copper and lead, which threw us out on our permit, and it killed my plant. So you're looking at a mixed liquor of anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000. It was 800. So all my bugs in my plant was destroyed. So I had to start from the ground up and build up for the past month. So we didn't waste or get rid of any solids for about 2 months. So we're back on track with that. We're starting to work that out a little bit. And we have a bunch of upcoming projects coming up. We're doing a storage building construction there at the plant, some ductile replacements on CSOs, some structural upgrades with the plant there. A lot of the gases cause a lot of deterioration on the building, so we're replacing those. And some drainage areas at the bay entrances. And 2 weeks ago, the city was approached by the Environmental Training Center to host a Class C course. So we hosted them, and we had 31 wastewater operators from the state surrounding. And I taught confined spaces, and my collection crew brought their vac truck over to get demonstrations on televising and how to use the vac truck. Very proud of my guys on how they demonstrated that. They were very professional, very thorough. Had a lot of questions. I had a lot of people saying, "Hey, you hiring?" So it looked good for the city of Elkins, and it made us look like we knew what we were doing. Our laboratory audit was held this month. No deficiencies, so shout out to Brian Jenkins, our lab manager, for making sure our lab's running efficiently and well done. Did apply for a couple grants with the help of Region 7 to help get some generators installed. We are looking at installing a generator on Cherokee this year. So I'm in the process of looking at some Sourcewell programs to get that program started and get that installation started. And our long-term control plan is still ongoing. We met with CEC yesterday, went and reviewed the CSOs to try to get a plan developed on that. So that's moving along fairly well. And just to end off, I tried to get my guys to come tonight, recognize, and they're like, "Nah, we're okay." But I do want to give a shout out to these guys. They are great workers. They are very humble. They're very modest. They don't want recognition. They don't want a pat on the back. They come to work. They do their job. Thank you, Mayor, for stopping at Post and Place the other night. Them guys are out there to almost midnight placing a line.
Well, they were there 2 days, actually.
They were there for 2 days, hard workers.
Yeah.
But I also want to include in that a department is successful depending on the support, and then a city as a whole. You know, without the Treasury Department, without the street sanitation, the custodial staff, I mean, that's what makes the city so successful. And just a shout out to the wastewater workers that didn't come tonight. They were extended that invitation.
And I'm just gonna add something. So, like I said, the last meeting, I actually asked Wes to bring the water department in. I asked Whitney to bring her guys tonight. And I would like to recognize all of our employees because they do a tremendous job. And I've heard people say, "Why are you recognizing them for doing their job?" Because now and then they go above and beyond the call. I mean, they worked on the posting for 2 days. And I stopped by to check on them because I always stop by to check on the crews whenever they're there for that long, that many hours. And they said, every time we think we get it fixed, the pipe crumbles more and we have to start over. And it crumbled like 4 times that night alone, that evening alone. Water department, like I said, they work 3 days. Your guys work 2. We've got the street department goes out, they plow for numerous hours. We've got the sanitation workers in all kinds of weather out there. And I've heard people say, why do you do it? That's their job. If you're going to throw shade at somebody because they're getting recognized, to me, that's a sign of insecurity and just pettiness in my mind. So I'm very proud of all of our workers. I'm thankful for them because without their support, we could not do what we do. Because they're the foundation that we stand on right now. So, anything else, Whitney?
I'm good.
All right, thank you. Okay, Fire Chief Steve Hines.
So apparently our news garbage truck must have spread like wildfire because WBOY ran an ad wrote a story yesterday on battery-related fires and garbage trucks.
Huh.
There's 448 in the country last year for Ray County. And apparently they've got the Forest Service involved too, because especially in our rural areas, you get thermal runaway from the batteries because they're burning at 1,800 to 2,200 degrees. You've got chemical contamination in runoff water from putting the fire out. So out the country, where does it run to?
Huh.
And so the Forest Service and some other entities are trying to run this campaign on proper battery disposal. Yeah, so otherwise in the fire department, 191 calls this year to date as of this morning. Nothing else much going on. We'll be working with Leon here just as soon as we conclude the meeting. Did get some on something I alluded to last time. Homeland Security is going to open the NFA campus for the fallen firefighters memorial ceremony. So I'm assuming that still means there's shutdown, but they are going to open the campus for the ceremony. So that's for 97 firefighters who died in 2025 and 107 who died in previous years will be honored this year. In working with Leon, there's a program called Light the Night Red that is related to the week leading up to the ceremony, which is on May the 3rd, and try to get some information out, possibly a proclamation, Mayor, and
Absolutely.
some other things to kind of bring that awareness out. You know, one of our guys was put on that memorial 21 years ago, so it's I believe it is important to reflect, remember, and respect. Anybody got anything else? And if there's any questions on the budget, I can answer them now or later.
All right. Our police chief, Travis Smith.
Good evening. Last Friday, I met with the representative from Rank 1 that's doing our camera system. They have a solution for the little power issues that we have at the Veterans intersection, so that's ironed out. I was still working through connectivity at the parks, but we should be having a lot more cameras come online in the very near future, so that makes me very happy. The last week and a half, we've been assisting with the Ridge Runner training exercise inside the city and outside the city as well. This past Saturday, several police officers participated in the Elkins Little League opening day by playing the Challenger Division team at Bluegrass. That was a lot of fun. Really good thing for us to get involved with. We did get beat. We'll be participating in the Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs event here on May 9th. It's always a big community event that we do every year. It's a lot of fun. We give away a lot of door prizes and things like that. So stop by and see the guys if you get a chance. And lastly, we lost one police officer effective the 12th of this month to a department in Wyoming. But other than that, that's all I've got, unless anybody has questions.
No.
Any questions for Travis?
Thank you.
If not, our city clerk, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I feel like I keep talking about TIF related actions that'll come here. They're almost about here, but after some ongoing work with our TIF advisors, detailed call with our advisor from Piper Sandler on bond sizing, then a follow-up discussion with the city treasurer just to get on the same page regarding structure, timing, and risks related to these kind of bonds. There's also a meeting of the TIF advisory committee the day after the last council meeting. Coming out of that meeting, that committee's job is to recommend for council's final consideration and approval what projects to spend TIF funds on, basically. So we will be bringing a kind of bundle of recommendations to this body, probably at your May 7th meeting, I think is the next meeting. But before we do that, there's just a little bit of work to do. We're fortunate that Woodlands Development Group has received an outside grant to provide project management services at no cost to the city, or at least to help with the engineering phase, which is what we need to get going. First, obviously, with the streetscape and riverfront projects. But before asking council to approve stepping through the process, Woodlands is going to bring an MOU forward that they're still working on, so council could look at what the relationship, how that would be structured. Once we have that in hand, we'll bring forward the committee's recommendations about moving ahead with the 5G process to procure engineering services for streetscape and riverfront. A request from East and EPRC to pledge about $20,000 from TIF funds, an initial match for the parks DOH grant for building the bike skills area at Glendale. And then eventually issue some TIF bonds, but assuming everything continues on track with our earmark funding and the cash we have in hand from TIF revenues, we probably wouldn't really need funds from a bond issue until late 26, early 27. I'll just pause there. Is any of you questions about the TIF subject? Okay. On the planning side, I was glad to help out with the Planning Commission's public presentation of the comp plan last week. That presentation was both in person and live streamed, and I did want to mention if anyone wanted to see the video of that presentation, you could still find it for a little longer on our Facebook page, and then I guess it'll be there indefinitely on our YouTube page. So you can view the presentation by the WVU consultant if you're curious. Again,
there's like 1 second, please. I'd like to thank Michaela for monitoring that and actually allowing us to ask questions live and answer them live. I think that's a neat feature that we've done with the last 2 public forums, to be able to get people that are watching a question in a very timely manner. So thank you.
Thank you. As mentioned before, we're looking for these comments at this stage to be back to my office by May 8th for the commission to consider at its meeting of May 14th. Group of admin officers and the mayor met with the director of Augusta Heritage Center to begin planning for what's going to be their 5 weeks of downtown programming this summer. They're building out from the 3 weeks they've been doing recently. It's obviously going to be very different downtown, a lot of planning still going on. And no doubt there could be some growing pains, but it seems like once the process gets ironed out, it could be a really awesome year for downtown Elkins during the summer. So we're going to continue meeting as there's more to think about. I was glad to participate with this year's cohort of Leadership Randolph, did a presentation on the city's strategic plan and other matters related to city government just a few days ago. Always good to get out and talk to interested groups. That's all I've got for now. Does anyone have any questions?
I will say the Augusta Heritage Center, their plan for this summer is very exciting. Going back to 5 weeks, they're having people downtown. They've got a great plan in place and very excited to see all the people coming for this one.
We used to be downtown, remember?
Yes. 81. That's what they told us today, so. Any other questions for staff? If not, we'll move down to the approval of the vendor invoice payments. I will entertain a motion to accept the invoices as submitted. We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. On to new business. The reason we're here on Tuesday, late on the fiscal year 2027 levy. I will entertain a motion to accept, please. We have a motion. Any questions or comments?
I just wanted to ask Tracy 2 questions, kind of for information for myself and for the public. So in terms of like city budget, this is from assessed value of property taxes. How much of the city's budget comes from this?
I would say roughly, probably 30%. Unfortunately, the general fund is made up the majority of taxes, and our 3 big tax bases are the county taxes, the B&O tax, and the sales tax. Without any one of those, there would be, it would be a huge hit to the city and the services that could be offered.
And this tax rate is set by the legislature or the county or?
So when we get our paperwork from the county, they provide the amounts and the rates, and without the city having an additional bond, that's the rates that are set forth. In my time with the city since 2011, the city has never gone for another bond because that would be an increase as
Mhm.
well. So we really try to work within what monies we have with that. I do want to read, if I can, that maybe clears up a little bit more what laying of the levy means. And this is from the state auditor's office. It says all levies, estimates, and budgets must be finally approved by the state auditor's office no later than the third Tuesday in April. Council will convene, and that's, or will reconvene, and this is every municipality has to meet tonight. Will reconvene on the third Tuesday in April to hear and consider any objections made orally or in writing by the prosecutor, the state auditor, or his representative, or by any taxpayer of the county. Council shall consider the proposed original estimate and the proposed rates of levy, and if the objections are well taken, council should correct the estimate and levy. No such estimate and levy, however, shall be entered until the same shall have first been approved in writing by the state auditor, which we have had that done. The recorder enters the estimate and the levy in the order of council's approval and the written approval of the state auditor in the proper record book. Then after tonight, within 3 days, the recorder will prepare, certify, and forward the levy order and rate sheet to the state auditor. The state auditor's office reviews each order and certifies the property tax levy rates to the county assessor, who immediately extends the taxes in the land and personal property books. The land and personal property books are turned over to the sheriff no later than June 7th, so the tax statements may be prepared and the collection process would begin. So timing is everything.
Mhm.
Oh, well,
Yes.
thank you for sharing that.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1906, approving the fiscal year 2027 fire fund budget. I will entertain a motion to accept, please. We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments?
I think just,
I was just going to say, just briefly working with Chief Hines, we have a balanced budget of $1,154,040. That includes in-city fire fees, first due fire fees, and an additional contribution that the city will be making throughout the fiscal year. When the fire fee was first started for the first due area back in 2015, there has been no increase to in-city or first due. So we're going on 11 years right now. However, everything else has gone up.
Yeah.
As if those who were on council when Chief Himes was in the need of another truck, were fortunate enough to get in early, or it would have cost the city much more than it has. So we're doing the best we can with these funds right now.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to thank the chief for kind of the narrative of the budget. I think that was really insightful. And I didn't know if there's, I mean, for the public, anything you wanted to kind of call forth there that you feel like people should really know.
The majority of that fund goes toward having people in the station to respond to your emergency in seconds. And you hear dollar amounts and so on and so forth, and I'm not 100% sure, but I would say that you cannot get a partially staffed fire station cheaper in the state. It costs you 27 cents a day. What is your life worth to you?
Thank you, Chief.
Can I ask Chief Hans, just for those who are listening?
Mhm.
Could you explain what all you respond to? Because it's just not fire.
I would jokingly say that if you can't shoot it or put a Band-Aid on it, we get the call. And some of those calls really don't amount to a large emergency, but to the caller it is. And it may be power lines, it may be brush fire, car fire, heavy equipment fire, building fire. If you are stuck somewhere that you are not supposed to be, water, over the hill, in a manhole, in a vehicle, under a vehicle.
And you have to respond.
Yeah, we've got a duty to act, so.
I just want the public to understand that, because a lot of the people that we have conversations with really think, well, my house has never caught on fire. Well, it's not that. What if you have a loved one in an accident? You know, you have to respond outside of city limits. Personally, I would want them to respond. If they're, sad to say, if there's a drowning. So there's a lot of things, the fire service fee, basically covers.
We have tried through alternative funding streams, and this budget is an operational budget to provide services. Simple as that. There's $0 in there to replace equipment. There is $0 in there for capital upgrades that, quite frankly, need to happen. And, you know, we have things that, you know, our personal protective equipment is not a pretty suit to make us look like a firefighter. It's $4,500 worth of gear, so that after I respond to someone's house fire, I've still got my ears and I've still got my skin. And it's not a costume. And it's got a 10-year life. And if you're as busy as we are, if you're an active member of our department, good luck making it last that long. You know, I've worked there 23 years. I'm on my 5th set. So, and every fire department in the country's got it. We're not special. So it's.
With all of the,
I could talk all night.
with all of your funding coming for operationals from the fire fee that was brought into effect in 2015, what does sustainability look like if those fees remain the same? What do services look like to the public? I just don't think people understand.
We will not be able to sustain the level of service. And we sure won't be able to improve the level of service. I would think that you would not want less.
And I'll just say this, I think in my time on council, I think when you get into any endeavor in life, there are things you don't expect to know so much about. And I'll say like fire and wastewater was something I didn't expect to learn so much about. And those are both two things that are easy to overlook until you're in it. And I just think it's really critical. I mean, I think if I'm going to have a soapbox moment, like I think the anti-taxation sentiment in this country, we have not recovered from it, but you get what you pay for. And I think we have really prudent people, and Chief is really prudent in providing exemplary service with within the boundaries he has. But we have to think about, you get what you pay for. So those 148 people who are refusing to pay their fire fee right now better recognize that that's not some like noble action or them saving themselves a penny. Like they're not contributing to the same common good we're all contributing to. And if I might quote kind of the millennial rock or the Gen Z rock band right now, Geese, they have a song called Taxes, and it says, if you want me to pay my taxes, you better come over with a crucifix. You're going to have to nail me down. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Like people, it should not be that hard for us to cooperate as a society in order to have things that save lives, that make the world work. And this is a good night to say, like, I'm proud to pay my taxes, and everyone should be too, because when you want things, when you want nice things, when you want your community to shine, like fundamentally, you've got to pay your taxes. You've got to pay these fees. It's a good thing. And thank you, Chief, for being so thorough and passionate.
Thank you.
On a subscription fee you pay whenever it catches on fire. Your
Any
taxes.
other questions or comments? We do have a motion on the floor, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1907, approving the fiscal year 2027 sanitation fund budget. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So,
You have a motion. Are there any questions or comments?
Once again, meeting with Mike, came up with a balanced budget of $1,832,900. If you would like to.
The only thing I would like to stress about the sanitation fund and the workers that do that job, often a service that kind of gets overlooked until you go out and your trash wasn't picked up that morning. You're like, what happened? But prior to me being hired, the city absorbed a rate increase where we take our trash. After I got hired, we absorbed another rate increase where we take our trash. And we also were renting a building for this department for, Tracy, how long?
Since 2006, maybe?
We were paying rent on a building. We have thus quit renting a building. We have built our own state-of-the-art garage. And through all of that, we have not raised the rates on the customer within the city. So I think that's a testament to the department for how well they watch what they do and how they operate. And again, this is a service that without these guys and girls going out there doing this every day, the city would not look nearly as clean as what it does look. So, we have to buy another truck. That's why the increase was there, and a piece of snow removal equipment. Other than that, everything else pretty much stayed the same for them. So that's where we came up with this number.
Any other questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1908, adopting a policy and fee schedule for applications to amend the zoning code and the zoning map. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments?
I don't know. I can provide some comments, or if the clerk would want to chime in on kind of how we came to this idea here. So I think in a nutshell, there was not a clear process if someone wanted to ask for a change in zoning. So this creates a clear process and also establishes essentially like a small fee to cover the cost of staff time when they engage in this process. And it also, I think in some ways prevents it makes sure people have skin in the game when they're asking for a change, because changing the zoning is a significant change. And so people should have good intention and commitment when they're taking action.
We also mirrored what some other communities were doing as well. So
Yeah, so this fee is not unusual. It's a pretty typical amount.
any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1909, accepting a bid from Washington Corps for the city's fiscal year 2027 property and casualty insurance. I will entertain a motion to accept. We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments?
I'm going to recuse myself from the vote on that one since my law firm does work for West Virginia Court.
All right, thank you, Counselor.
As well,
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to say, just as a reminder, this was put out for bid and we only had the one response. And this is our current carrier. It's about a 1.8% increase.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1910, establishing new policies for funds transfers related to the city's pooled cash and payroll accounts. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1911, accepting a bid from Pillar Innovations for the City Hall security system. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Are there any questions or comments?
I don't know
Just,
if you want to offer any.
Sure, I can
Insight.
elaborate. I can elaborate. As you know, we did the bid opening. There was a company and a lot of this was done kind of in haste in my part because we had the council meeting on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. I needed to get this to council so we could get it approved and enter into a contract with the company. So we opened the bids, we took the low bid, I ran with it, got it to Sutton so we could get it on the agenda. The architect and I then deeply looked into the bids, and the company that had the low bid did not give us apples to apples like we had requested in the specifications. So we went to the next lowest bid. They have state-of-the-art equipment that will integrate well with our security access system. So I talked to our architect, he provided a letter, I think it's in there, where he recommends that we go with Pillar Innovations for this bid. We have worked with them in the past. They are a phenomenal company. They do great work, and I foresee no issues working with them and getting these cameras installed. The security system that they're putting in will be state of the art and really make a safe work environment for all employees and anybody that enters City Hall at all times. So I think it's a smart move. And again, please accept my apologies for the confusion. I was just trying to get it on the agenda as quick as I could so we didn't have to wait until May 7th or call people in for something special just to get something approved.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah. So when we're looking at the other bid that come in, it's less than a $500 difference. Is there any significant difference between what was being proposed from Pillar to I Spy CCTV? When we look at equipment?
Pillar directly addressed more of the exact needs of the specifications and was more compatible with the other options of the access control system, and has worked with us in the past, did a phenomenal job doing some work in the police department at the beginning of this whole project. And with it being less, that's why we went with them.
All right. Because a $500 budget when we're looking at overall security is not a big budget difference.
Right.
And I just want to make sure we're just not going with the lowest
Oh, no,
bid to go with the lowest bid. I want to make sure we're doing truly what's in the best interest.
No, absolutely
with
not.
that amount of difference.
No, absolutely not. And Pillar comes highly recommended from other entities as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, down to mayor's comments. I've got a few tonight. I'm going to start with recycling. As you know, this is more to the public than the people in this room because you guys know the rules here. We have our glass and our yard waste, which, we had a private company had other recycling in the past. Fortunately, we don't have that. I'm going to ask the public to please follow the rules because I went over last week and there was cardboard thrown in with the glass, and people that are not following the rules are going to ruin it for everybody else. And Mike can attest to this. I mean, they're going to stop taking it if people keep throwing their trash in there. So I'm just going to ask you, please follow the rules. We have them out there for a reason. You're not above them. So, if you're the person throwing other stuff in there and it shouldn't be, kind of shame on you is what I'm going to say, because you may ruin something for everybody and then we have no recycling at all in this thing. So that's just going to plead to the city at this point in time, the people that are doing that.
Mayor, if I can add to that, you're 100% right. And we take this all to Clarksburg. And trust me when I tell you, we have got many calls from them telling us, this is your last chance. I hope we don't truly get that last chance, but because we don't have time for guys to jump in those and sift through them. That shouldn't be their job to sift through those.
It's especially down in the glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's dangerous.
So yeah, thank you so much for saying that, because if where we take it says no, we have nowhere else to take it, and that's a service we can't provide them.
Well, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but just food for thought. I did receive 2 requests from citizens. One wanted to know if we could have like a little step up or platform because they were too short to dump the yard waste.
Okay.
And I said, I will pass that along. Sure. I'm passing that along. And I don't know what the second one was now. Oh, they want to know if we would ever be open on Saturdays again. And I said, I don't know. Because we used to do it like a half a day on Saturdays.
We used to be open half a day on Saturdays. A lot of that deals with the budget because you
Okay.
start running into overtime and staffing issues.
But once again, I said I would.
Something we could entertain.
I would
it's
pass it
definitely
along,
something
is
we
what I
could
was
entertain.
saying. So-
As far as putting a step on there, we could definitely address that one.
Okay.
That's a pretty easy fix.
Okay,
This,
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if this is addressed to whomever, but since that's located at like the sanitation garage right there, is it
It's right
possible?
behind the street department
The
garage.
street, yeah, the
Yes.
street department, yes, sorry, my bad.
No, that's fine.
Is it possible to have that like, maybe like surveillanced or have security cameras in that kind of
Look to the
vicinity?
gentleman to
actually-
you, right?
I was actually gonna say the same thing. That's an easy fix. Put a camera on it.
Mhm.
There is a city ordinance that it is against the law to fail to obey an officially posted sign. It's a forthwith offense that you can be taken directly to jail. We're not following a sign.
I'll get with you, chief.
There's real easy fix.
It's a service we don't want to lose.
Right.
And, you know, we don't want one or two, you know, the old adage, one bad apple ruins it for everyone. We don't want that to happen. So
And
Mayor,
know-
thank you.
But you know that people are using it. I mean, it was
Oh,
full. And then I went over yesterday and it was still already a third of the way full. So people are using it.
we hauled it out on Friday morning, got it back Friday before lunch, and when it quitting time, we were already smashing it back down because it was full again. This time of year, it's
Oh, yeah,
just a
people-
steady stream of traffic going in.
Okay, well, thank you for bearing with me on that portion of it, the recycling aspect of it. We have some events coming up this week, and I just want to make you aware. And hopefully, we can have a big attendance from council as well as other city employees. Tomorrow evening, from 3 to 6, there's a community cleanup. They're going to be starting at Beander's, and they're passing out the bags and whatever you need. And they're also, if you show up, they're having prizes they're giving away. I want to make you aware of that. This goes to the public as well. So if you want to show and help clean up our community, then we would love for you to come around and clean some stuff up and kind of socialize with your neighbors and help clean up our community. And then Friday evening, the Tiger Hotel is having their second anniversary block party. So we hope that you show up and attend that. And then, of course, we have our Ramps and Rails Festival Saturday, which is always huge for our area. So do me a favor, attend as many as you can, support our community partners because they put some long hours into planning this stuff. So, and I expect a huge turnout tomorrow evening, which will beautify our city for the two events that are happening Friday and Saturday. So I'm very thankful for the people that are coordinating this and putting it together. But like I said, if you could do me a favor, please, and try to support them, I would greatly appreciate it. With that, I will say, have a good evening and meeting adjourned.